New home. My husband Gary and I have a 1-year-old son along with 4 dogs, and since the new addition of our son, we kept getting quite cramped on our previous house, so we decided it was finally time to move. We found a house that was close to the same price of our previous house, and that was nearly double the size. It was right at the edge of town, a little further from everything, but we both agreed it was worth moving, even though it sucks with a toddler, and since I was a stay-at-home mom, I would be doing most of the unpacking. The house is 2 stories with 3 bedrooms, and I always sleep terribly as it was our first night moving in and being in a new place. And it didn't help by the fact that the ceiling was almost about 40 years old and creaked all the time. I kept thinking I was hearing something walking above me, but I wrote it off. Since all that was above me was the attic, I figured it was probably just some old house, just settling, or at the worst case scenario, like a mouse or a rodent trapped in the attic. I told Garrett that and I had told Garrett, and he said that next payday we'd have an exterminator come out. I had other things to worry about, so I put it out of my mind, and I went to start unpacking. All of a sudden, Garrett started complaining about not being able to find a few of his things, like his razors, an extra pair of sunglasses, his flip-flops, etc. I had really focused on unpacking like downstairs first, so I figured maybe he mislabeled some of his boxes or possibly had left a few things behind on accident. And honestly, I really didn't feel bad at the moment about his missing things because I was so busy trying to get the house ready. I unpacked the nursery first because I needed to child-proof that room, and our room was done last. And I kept finding boxes that were already open, but I kept assuming that my husband had opened them looking for his stuff. And I realize now that I probably should have asked him, but I was just so stressed from having to just move and getting everything done so quickly. And it wasn't until I started unpacking my boxes that I noticed that some of my stuff was also missing. Like a few of the things I knew I had packed, like my favorite bra, some scrapbooks, lipstick. And I brought it up to my husband, and he told me the same thing, that it would just turn up. It was probably just in another box since we still had more boxes to unpack. And as time went on, we both kind of forgot about the missing items, as they weren't really essential to our day-to-day life and it wasn't until my mom had come by and she was hearing some noises in the attic and said that maybe there was something up there, and that's when I had remembered that we had never called an exterminator. So I set an appointment for the next day, and Garrett had taken the day off to deal with the exterminator. And the exterminator, his name was Paul. He got there while I was fixing lunch for my son. So Garrett took him up to the attic. Neither my husband and I had bothered to go to the attic yet, so Garrett figured it was a good time to check. They came back downstairs quickly and literally ran down the stairs. Garrett told me to stop what I was doing and to take the baby outside immediately while he put the dogs in the backyard. I was confused, but it was something in his tone that let me know this was important. The window, I could see them from the window. All of a sudden, they told me to jump in the truck and sit with the AC on, while my husband came out to the front. I could see the look of terror in his eyes. I never really seen anybody look so scared in my life. They both immediately jumped inside the truck with me and locked the doors. Once everybody was inside, Garrett carried on and told me what he saw. The police arrived. There was an air mattress with blankets that looked as if it had been slept in recently. Most of our missing items were there as well. Pictures from my scrapbook were torn out and taped to the walls. Some of the faces were marked with a red X, found out later that it was drawn on by my lipstick. And there were also some blankets and stuffed animals of my son's that had been stabbed repeatedly by a kitchen knife and left in its head. My bra was there. Everything was kind of blown all over the place. We made statements, identified objects, and there was an officer taking lots of pictures, not only of the attic, but every place I had last seen the items since they had ended up there. After that, we moved. I was too creeped out to stay there, and they never found out who it was who had been living up there. I doubt they ever will. One thing for sure, check every space before moving in and after. You never know if there's an unwelcome guest staying there with you.